Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430. This is episode 226. And we have the Craig, the Ashley Barta, because it's the with that blue check mark by her name, too. So that's a big deal.
Big time.
That's a big deal. I think Ashely and Jeff Coates are the only people that we have on this show that have the blue check mark.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a big deal.
It is.
I'm not just saying that because you're here. Like that's fact.
I had it before it was cool.
Really?
Before everybody got it. Because my account was hacked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and somebody was trying to sell news.
Oh,
supposedly under my account.
Brutal, man.
So I convinced Instagram that they need to give me the blue check mark.
Yeah. Well, no, that maybe I can scam Instagram. Maybe I'll say the same thing, Ashley. I'll say
it was crazy because I was in duck blind and my phone was blowing up at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm trying to shoot teal and my phone's blowing up like, hey, I just got a friend request and it says for $14.99 a month I can get unlimited nudes. And I'm like, just report it.
All right.
So that's how I got the blue check mark.
You know what? We've got the Ashley Barta. We've got another blue check mark, and we've never started a show with somebody saying their phone was blowing up, saying that they can get nudes for $14.99. I'm telling you, that's a new one for us. So, and
sorry.
And again, this week we were having technical difficulties getting this show, so we're firing on all cylinders here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, at the beginning of every show, we thank our wonderful sponsors of First Light Hunting, Real Geese Silhouette Decoys, and Ducklander Calls. 3 amazing companies that have been with us from a very, very long time, and I would really appreciate it if you went over to their socials and gave them a like and tell them all about how awesome the show is, and tell them that they should send us more money. That would be greatly appreciated. And of course, the voice of the Union 0430, Captain Jeff Coates. And like I said, this week we have the one, the only, the Ashley Barta.
Because one is more than enough.
There. I've been waiting. I keep forgetting about the sound effects, Craig. And
now that you've got it ironed out, so you know which ones are which, and you use the right ones.
Yeah, there's a little screen I found, and it has them all labeled. So there was a few episodes about a month ago, Ashley, where I was just smashing buttons and
just hoping for the best.
Hoping for the best, yeah. So again, the first 3 minutes of this show is not, what could I say? It is not, I don't know. I was thinking of a big word and it can't come to my mind right now. Ashley, thank you for coming. I know we've been talking about having you on the show for a while, and then my schedule, your schedule, and then and we were going to do this show early, but you said your dog was coming back from a field. Was it a field trial or a hunt test?
No, my trainer had to go to a hunt test, and I brought my dog home for the weekend. I had to take her to the vet, so I had to take her back to the trainer. She'll go to a hunt test in July.
Okay.
So and he had to take a big, what we call the big dog. We had to take the big dogs to the hunt test this weekend.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
And so I got to admit, I was creeping your Instagram today. How many dogs do you have?
Just 2.
Okay, just the 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I have a male, Jake, and a female, Stella.
Okay. And black labs, both of them.
Mm-hmm. Jake is a field trial lab, and Stella is a British lab.
Okay.
She's the big personality, and he's laid back, low key. She's a diva. He's just happy to be here.
Oh yeah.
So they're the light of my life. So
So Jake is an American lab and Stella's the British. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Stella's a snooty Brit. That's what it is. That's what we'll just say that. See, Craig,
That's what I
there's
always
more.
say. Like, are you upset because you didn't get your tea and crumpets today? What's your problem, girl?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. See, Craig, there's more people with dogs. It's
Yeah.
just you can't escape it. There's
It's
just
funny. I was thinking yesterday we had friends up and they brought their dogs for the weekend, and it made me remember. It's like, oh yeah, Damien has been pushing for the last couple of weeks. No matter like, even though we've been talking about a bunch of random stuff, like you haven't been pushing the dog issue.
I know I give you a little break, but now Ashley's here and she's going to tell you about how much fun she has, how much more fun the hunt is.
Turn the screws a little bit more.
That's right. That's right. And it can't be relentless because then you just won't come on the show
Yeah,
anymore.
just stop
And then
listening.
right, yeah,
That's right.
absolutely. So, Ashley, you're in Kansas, and I got to tell you, like, just going through your Instagram, like, it's pretty remarkable. Going through your stuff and seeing how the two biggest questions that popped up in my head when I was going through your Instagram was one, how much do you friggin' travel? Like
A
a lot.
lot.
Yeah.
I've driven everywhere that I've hunted except for Washington State.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a bit of a jaunt from Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to drive 16 hours up, and go hunt for 2 days and drive home. It's nothing to just pop on down to Arkansas and hunt for a day and drive home. I bought my truck 2 years ago and I put 80,000 miles on it.
Man.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Do you have a dedicated crew that you hunt with all the time, or are you like consistently just like how I am, just bumming around, always somebody new?
I'm just a bum.
Yeah, that's same with me.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean, I have some people that I really try to hunt with every year.
right.
Last year, I mean, I just call it my scratch year because I was injured. So I only hunted 3 times, but I have, consistent people that I really try to hunt with every year. And then I just am a bum every, all the rest of the time.
I get
Like,
you.
hey, you want to come hunt? Sure. Or I have a stretch of days off and I'm just going to drive on down to wherever, out to wherever, and just go hunt. So, or just go out to public and hunt. Our public gets shot up pretty good. So,
Yeah.
You know,
I don't
just
I don't know how and this is always a weird question to ask anybody when they come on the show, but geographically in Kansas, like, are you close to the Missouri border and the Arkansas border? Like, are you down into that corner?
I am literally 5 miles from the geographical center of Kansas.
Okay. Like, you are smack dab in the middle.
In the middle.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. Now I work down by the Oklahoma border, so it's nice if I like schedule a trip when I get off work, because then, especially if I'm going to go down south, because then I'm like almost 3 hours closer to wherever I'm going.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's a jaunt for me.
I'm pulling up a map of Kansas here because oh no, never mind. I spent some time in Missouri when I was in the military, and I was just trying to figure out in relation to that, but it's quite a distance. Fuck. I was going to ask. There was something when you were talking about that, and it's totally, that's what I get for trying to do too many things at once. I was trying to look at a map and then listen to you, and you had said something
Out it
else.
went.
But yeah, we'll be talking about something here in 5 minutes, and it'll pop up, and I'll just blurt it out, and everyone will be like, "Where did that come from?" So,
Oh, we'll know though.
yeah, we'll know. But no, in all seriousness, though, like, oh, that's what it was. So, I've heard this is sort of kind of the narrative that I'm hearing, and it's revolving around female hunters, right? So this is the narrative that I'm hearing, um, with regards to not all of them that I know, because I know some um, pretty dedicated ladies that hunt not just ducks but everything. But one of the things I've heard is that most of the ladies around, that's my phone, guys, I'll turn it down. Um, most of the ladies around, they don't have the ability to go out and do their own hunt, carry out their own hunt, do their scout, do all of that stuff. Now, and I will preface that by saying I know a bunch of ladies that can do it, and they do it, and they do it great. But then there's a ton of dudes that I know that can't do it or don't
Correct.
do it, right? But
Yeah.
you never hear the narrative that, well, that guy can't go out and do a hunt on his own. Like that, it's never mentioned, right? But the minute
No.
that you see a girl or a lady on Instagram or on social media, whatever, and they're doing their thing, that's what you hear. Well, probably got a guide, probably some dude that's taking her out or whatever. Like, is that something that you face on a day to day, or not a day to day, but is that something that gets thrown up at you sometimes?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Even there was a guy, I don't know, I'm on the Kansas hunting and fishing page, and um, turns out we're Facebook friends, but he made a comment like, well, you just go on all guided hunts. You don't know what it's like to hunt public. And I was like, said, I don't post everything that I hunt. I
Right.
mean, like you have to keep something for yourself. And I'm not one
Yeah.
that just posts every picture, but I'm just like, you have no idea. I said, I hunt public in Kansas. I've hunted public in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Washington State. You have no idea where I've hunted. So
Right.
that's pretty bold of you to say that I don't understand public hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's pretty, I mean, you're pretty spot on. You'll never hear about, oh, well, Joe,
Yeah.
he doesn't know how to scout or hunt.
Yeah.
He just, I mean, he just kind of fits in with his buddies and nobody knows
That's right.
because, his friend John always does all the scouting and, they just pile in and go together. When you have women, they just assume, oh, well, she must have a guide. But
Yeah.
I can assure you that uh, when I go hunt by myself, I go look for birds for 2, 3 days before I go. Now, if I find some, I'm like, I'll be out there tomorrow morning.
Right.
But um, I've hunted with some really good guys that were
Yeah.
nice enough to teach me some really good stuff. And I still will give them a call and say, hey, I've had ducks in this one pond for like 4 days, but they're only there in the afternoon that I've seen. Do you think it's a good idea to like go out there tomorrow morning? I'm not afraid to call them, but
Yeah.
I think we as women get not, I think we kind of get shit on a little bit for,
Yeah.
people think that we don't know what we're doing. I don't think everyone, I mean, there's not one person knows everything because then if they said they knew everything, they'd be lying. But, we unfortunately get a bad rap about not being able to do stuff. I mean, I haul my decoys out and put them on a decoy sled and my blind bag and have my dog and all my crap. And I mean, I'll hike. I mean, especially if I go out to public that's 15 miles from my house. I mean, it's a hike out there in the,
Yeah.
you know, flooded marsh. And but you know, you're right. Everybody does assume, oh, well, they have a guide, or oh, somebody
Yeah.
told them, or oh, they helped them set up. So yeah, and it is a bunch of crap.
It is.
And the other big one too, and the common assumption and comments are about not just that somebody took you, did all the setup, but it's like if you get a picture of you with some birds, it's like, oh, who shot those birds?
Yeah.
Whose birds are those that she's taking the picture with, kind of thing. And same thing, it's like you see a guy post a pile of birds and his limit.
Absolutely.
It's even if you know the guy probably didn't shoot them, it's like that's you don't see that's not a common comment, right? And but yeah, 100% on the other side it is.
Yeah.
Well, I had the game warden actually got checked by the game warden when I took Stella out for her very first duck hunt, and it was, I mean, it was that dark. I mean, we were loading up and everything. And he checked me and he goes, "Who shot those birds?" I said, "I did." He goes, "Oh." And I said, "Well," he goes, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I shot him." I said, "This is my dog's first hunt." I said, "That's why we're kind of late getting, all packed up and everything." And he's like, "Oh, wow." And I said, "Well, I got checked at Jamestown last week. I hunted there, public, but I didn't. I took my other dog." And he goes, "Oh, you have two dogs?" And I said, "Yeah, because I go hunting."
Yeah. Like,
And he's like, "Oh, well,
it
well,
is
that's
like,
good."
it
Like,
is
good for you,
2020.
and pat on the head kind of sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you imagine? Make them feel like, well, that's good. Good for
Yeah.
you. A little pat on the head. But it is fucking 2025. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. Like, I shouldn't say I get it that I understand why people would say it, because that's not true. Um, but I get both sides. I can get why a lady could be pissed off and torqued and a little bit disappointed that someone would think that about them. And then there's the other side of it, and this works both ways with men as well.
Sure.
But then you got the other side of the ladies that are doing it for the likes and the sponsorships, and you're never seeing the full picture. But people will attack a woman for doing it, but guys do the exact same thing. Like, you look
100%.
you look at, like Craig, we've talked about it on this show a million times. The pile pick and the fellas posing with birds and the whole bit. Nobody says absolutely nothing to that.
No.
But yet, if a girl, like you said, well, I wonder who shot those birds, or
Yeah.
well, the guide shot those birds, or whatever. Like, the one thing that I noticed, Ash, I hope you don't mind me calling you Ash, because I was calling you
No.
that on text.
Everybody has my whole life.
Okay. But even when I was going through your social media, like, you've got, like, it's usually you and a group of ladies that are hunting together,
Yeah.
and like, not every day are you guys scratching out limits, but you're doing it. No
Yeah.
more is it that I go out and Craig goes out. We don't get limits every day. Like, it's unrealistic to think that you would.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. A good friend of ours, he owns a company. He's up in North Carolina called Canard's Waterfowl, and he actually messaged me the other day, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm ready to come back on the show." He had come on the show before, and then I said, "Hey, come on anytime." And this is the one thing that he wants to talk about. He said, "I want to come on." He said, "I don't understand why we're so mean to one another." He was like, he said, "I want to come on. I want to talk about this." He said, "Because we're ruthless to each other." And he can't understand why. And I see it, Craig sees it, but then you would see a completely different side out of it.
Yeah.
And this is 2025. It's just
I
fucking
mean,
mind-boggling.
I can tell you, and I don't want to give you dates because I don't want to call people out, but I mean,
Yeah.
I've hunted with other ladies that um I can tell you it's very frustrating to have people added to your hunt that you booked and like had to have a couple friends leave, that stuff happened. And they were like, "Hey, do you mind if these people join?" I'm like, "No, it's fine. It just
Yeah.
makes for a better time."
Mhm.
And did not pick up a gun the entire time.
Right. Yeah.
Made TikToks in the blind, did not pick up a gun the entire time.
Yeah.
Me and my one friend that were still there, we shot the birds, and uh, they had guns, so they counted. But I mean, and then she and I are very blunt people, and then they're over there holding birds that we shot and taking
Yeah.
them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they have a very large social media following,
Right.
and then they are posting pictures, and so I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's fine, it's whatever," but still, it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Um,
I've
it's
seen
happened.
dudes.
It's
I've
happened
seen dudes do
more.
it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not about like, "Hey, you didn't shoot that," or "Hey, I shot that," or whatever. But just to just blatantly just show up to make a TikTok in the blind and never even put a shell in, and then, say, oh, we shot these birds today. That honestly pisses me off. And I've been on hunts. I mean, I've like dropped in. I'm like, hey, I'm passing through with people I know, and been put with guys that are like, oh, you're here to actually hunt birds? I'm like, yeah. Oh, we just thought you're here to take pictures. And I'm like, fuck. No, I'm not. I might take some pictures. I mean,
of course, we all do.
the sun's coming up, or that looks pretty cool, or whatever. But especially if I have my dog, I'll take pictures. But I'm like, no, I'm here to hunt.
Yeah,
it's what I came to do. I did not get up at 3:30 in the morning to watch birds just fly around and watch you shoot them.
Craig, sorry, Ash, I'm interrupting.
No, that's fine.
Craig, like Craig's wife, Kiri, she hunts. Like she's not out as much as what Craig is, but they've got two small boys, and she works and all the other stuff, right? But Craig, like, what does Kiri say? Like, because do she hear that sort of stuff?
No, because she doesn't post much. Like she's just not out a lot, right? Like she'll maybe get out a couple times a year, and she'll post, or I'll tag her in it and or add her as a collaborator, so it does show up on her own feeds and everything.
Right.
But most of her stuff's private as well too. So most of her communities, like through dance and stuff like that, they're all supportive and everything. So she doesn't. I'm not aware of her ever run into any issues. Maybe in the past on Facebook before she had to kind of close everything down more. But no, it's like she'll get comments like from within our friends, because like I think probably the first hunt she ever went on with me, the first picture I took of was her doing her makeup in the morning, like pulling her hair back and doing a bit of makeup and stuff, because that's what she would do any day, right? It wasn't just she wasn't doing it to then take the pictures. It was just her natural progression through the day. Yeah. So it was like people had commented on that, but again, it was just our friends joking around and stuff like that.
Well, I don't care. I put makeup on before I go hunt with other people, because if I end up taking a picture, I don't want to look horrible. I mean, my hair's already going to look horrible, but I don't want to look like complete death. So, I mean, and you know what? I get my nails done and I always have them painted. So, but that's just me.
Right.
I've even put my makeup on before I went to bed so I could sleep 10 minutes later when we go out to hunt. But I just know that I look horrible without any mascara on.
That's a question we need to ask. How many female hunters are there that will actually do their makeup the night before so they can get that extra 30 minutes sleep? I bet
I don't know, but I have been guilty of staying up too late, and then I'm like, I'm going to go put this makeup on, and I am not going to move.
Well, and then it helps too if by chance you sleep in a little too long. You don't want that. That's not the one thing you gotta sacrifice in the morning, right?
There you go. And I'm always the first one up anyway. Everybody relies on me. I'm always the first one up. I've always had my alarm set earliest, and I'm always the first one out of bed, and then I get everybody else out of bed. But I will never put a woman down for the fact that she has her makeup done when she hunts or has her nails done or whatever, because that's just who that person is. The frustrating part is when they do all that for likes. Like I have a friend who's a photographer, and he said, I can take this perfect picture of a pintail, the best light, the best everything, it's posing the best, and I can put it on Instagram, and it may get 1,000 likes, and then there's some girl holding a fish in a bikini, or a duck or whatever, and then she gets 5,000 likes in a day. I sat out there for 12 hours to get that picture of that duck. Yeah. She, I think some of those things that does kind of have a negative impact on us. But it's not a perfect world. And I think the people that do go out and hunt, they just have to keep being the people that they are.
I think
social media has done some of that, unfortunately. And I think if you know the person and you know who they are, then there's no question about it.
We've noticed, and we've talked about it in the last little bit, just that seems like more and more people are seeing through some of that garbage anyways. So the
Yeah.
more genuine people are, again, they may not be as successful, may not be represented in their number of likes and followers, but it's I think it's showing up a little bit more and people are more aware of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Um,
And
I
I
don't know.
think and this is the because we live in that society now where people want the likes and they want the followers and they want the sponsorships and they want the money that's flowing in. Not only are the regular average Joes or Joannes, I guess, I don't know, is there a general a gender, I don't know,
Sally, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know, fucking lost it again, man. Lost it. I am not on.
There's medicine for that.
Ash, I'm going to tell you, the amount of medicine that I pump into my body right now, I do not need anymore. I can promise you that. No, but I think the average Joe, like you said, Craig and Ash, like we're able to see it now and we can pick it out and the average Joe. But I also think now that the brands, there was a time where I think it mattered to the brands, when social media was first coming out and it was getting popular. Like if you had the likes and the followers, and that was, but I don't think that brands feel that way anymore. They want someone genuine that's going to represent their brand and act in a professional manner, that it's not, and excuse my French, but it's not just someone with their ass hanging out,
One
to
thousand
get
percent.
right. Like the brands don't want that anymore. Like at and I think the only reason why they accepted it back in the day is because nobody knew enough about it. Like it was so new that this was just okay. Well, that person has 100,000 views. Like, and not that I'm comparing myself to this, but first when we started this show, I reached out to a fella who's on social media and a, a large following, and I just offered. I said, hey man, like this is who I am. I'm doing a show. I'd love to have you come on the show and we can talk about hunting and stuff like this. And he was like, yeah, I'll come on, but I'm not going to promote that I was on your show. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like,
Wow.
well, that sort of goes against why I want you on the show, because I want you to promote that you're on the show so I can get more viewers. And he was like, yeah, you're just not big enough. He was like, I get this many
Wow.
views. I get this many views a day on my
Wow.
videos. And I was like, okay. I said, well, thanks for getting back to me, but no thanks.
Wow.
And then I don't know, it was probably like 6 months later, he messages me and says, hey, if you want me to come on the show, I can come on the show now. And I was like, no, you're good.
No.
Like, but again, I think this was what people thought was what was needed. And now brands, I think brands just, they see past it now. They just want someone that's genuine, to come on and represent their brand professionally.
Well, as a brand, like, wouldn't you want somebody that's just a better ambassador and better representation versus
I would
just
think so.
some dickhead who people are going to be bitching about in a couple of weeks when they realize that they don't know what they're talking about or they're just some sort
Yeah.
of sham.
Yeah.
Like Ash, you work. Do you like? Are you on an official status work for Gator Waiters and Jimmy Mueller? Like,
I
do
do. I
you?
am.
So like, so I used to know somebody that used to work at Gator Waiters. I think was it David Frisbee?
He
Is
is
he?
there. That's the
Yeah.
VP.
Yeah, so David and I know Jimmy Mueller because I met him at the DU event last year. So great people, very down to earth, um, and no different than the three of us, really, right?
No.
Like we're just regular people, but they Jimmy owns his brand, and then David is VP. Um, but yeah, like I think that's what it is, Craig. Like people, the brand is the business, and if the brand gets caught up with anything now, because you live and die by social media, that if you're not putting out the exact message, and the people that you have representing you, if they're not putting out the exact right message, it could be suicide in the business world right now.
And so quickly too.
Yeah.
Social media, it's like it doesn't take any time for that to happen.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, I've been told that I've been asked about in other states. I was told that early on that before I was wearing their stuff, 5, 6 years ago.
Right.
But they didn't ever have like a pro staff program. That's what they call it. Until I think 2022. I think that's when signed it. And, but I mean, they told me, they're like, we asked around about you. I was in Mississippi and I asked around about you. I've asked, we go hunt and I asked them, your name came up and I asked what they thought of you. We, we want to make sure that you are who you represent that you are, and that keep your nose clean. And I'm like, yeah, nobody's perfect. Delta Waterfowl last year, had a lot of fun at the hotel bar, but I'm also a human being. So, I didn't do anything inappropriate. I'm an adult, right. But, they're just making sure that I'm, hunting ethically, that I'm, being a good person, that I'm, not killing over my limit, that, just doing the right thing. And I honestly think that you could be a brand ambassador for a lot of things. Companies will just say, oh yeah, whatever. They have 100 of them. They just really don't care. But I know for a fact that I know Jimmy cares, and I know that Gator Waders cares, and I have a really good relationship with both of them. And I know that when I go out and hunt, I represent myself, and I'm an adult, obviously, but my parents are gone, but I always think about how, because everybody knows me as like the Gator Waders girl, how I'm representing the company that I'm wearing.
Yeah. And you sort of kind of touched on something, like you are an adult, right? Like, I don't think anybody is looking for this polished, perfect human being. Because I think most people realize that person doesn't exist.
No.
But as long as you could be ethically responsible, and you're not driving down a back road shooting your gun out of your car trying to fill your limit, I think I think that the brands will be happy with you. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to split an atom. You just got to be true to yourself, and then in turn represent the brand in the way that to what they expect. And yeah, like, it's not, as Ricky would say, it's not rocket appliances.
No, it's not.
And how satisfying is that too, when somebody says like, oh, I was looking for this type of person and your name came up, or I was asking about you and this is what people had to say. Like how could you want anything more than to kind of get those responses?
That your reputation is, when you're not, because that was something that's always been said to me, right? What people say about you when you're not around is what's important, right? So yeah, good point, Craig. Yeah.
I hunted one day and I thought I had one shotgun. I had another shotgun. I have no idea what choke is in that shotgun because I don't ever use it except it's my backup. And so I didn't shoot worth a crap. Those days happen. And so then I hunted with this person another time. They were like, well, I know you can't shoot. And I'm like, oh, but I have the right gun today. I know what choke is in that gun.
That was the gun.
It really was. It was super windy. I think I just had an improved choke in there. And of course, it's not going to go very far. So I was like, oh no, I have the right gun and the right choke today. Because I don't even have a Mueller choke for it. So I thought I had the other gun in the thing, and I'm like, hey, everybody has an off day.
Of course.
But I was like, no, just wait, give me another chance. But no, I try to be a good person. I feel like I'm a good person. Some may disagree. Not it. I mean, can't have everybody like you, and that's all right. But I try to help people and set a good example and have a good time, and
Mhm.
sometimes just keep my mouth shut when it needs to stay shut. And sometimes I've opened my mouth very big, and
Yeah.
when I've opened it, it's been really necessary. Because I'm
Okay,
not going to put
that's
up
where
with
you
somebody's
differ
crap.
from me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not going to put up with a bunch of crap.
Yeah. I
Um,
open my mouth sometimes when I really there's no need for it. So I could take a listen out of your book.
yeah, I mean, I've up and left a hunt, just left,
Okay.
washed out, just ate my money and left.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
then you probably kind of, again, like on the reputation thing, then it's probably, you're probably at the point where people are like, if you speak up or say something, it's like people will probably, they like, okay, we need
Hmm.
to listen. If she's speaking up, then there's a reason for it, and we know there's some thought behind it, and not just you're not just saying a bunch of stuff for the sake of saying it, right?
yeah, and I understand that everybody's personality is different. I'm not going to go bash somebody because they do
Right.
whatever. But I've up and just left a hunt and eat my money. And I told David Frisbee that, and he's like, "That's not like you." And I'm like, "Oh, but here's what happened." And I said, it was not worth me staying.
Right.
So when it was time to go back out to the field, I just got my stuff and I just left. And
Ash.
I just called one of my friends and I was like, "Hey, do you have a spot for me and my dog to hunt?" And he's like, "Come on down." So, that cost me
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's for snow geese. So, but he's like, "Come on down." So we hunted in the rain in Arkansas for 3 days. But there was just, you know, there's just no way I could stay at a hunt that everything wasn't kosher.
Right.
I
Good
wasn't going to
job.
be part of
Good
that.
job in stick handling around that.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
ha-
I mean, and if those people are listening, uh, so be it. But I just couldn't stay at a hunt that wasn't kosher.
yeah.
And one other girl left with me.
Wow.
So,
What is it
and
you always say, Damon? It's like, if you think this is about you, you're probably right.
Yeah.
yeah,
If they're
yeah.
listening.
I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
coerce her in any way.
100%.
I
If
mean,
you're
she was like,
if the hair on the back of your neck, if your spidey sense is saying, I wonder are they talking about me? Then yes, we're talking about you. 100%.
exactly. Yeah.
100%.
I
Ash,
mean,
one of
yeah,
the things that we hear up here in Canada is that the largest growing demographic of waterfowl hunters right now are female. That's the largest growth in demographics, right? So, and I don't know if this is something you're comfortable with or if it's something that's even been approached to you, but are you like have you been approached on the mentorship side? Like have you like I know you've done some hunts with some female organizations like wilderness and stuff like that, right? So have you been pulled in for that mentorship role and to be that that strong, and I don't want to say strong voices and where you stand on your soapbox,
yeah,
but to be a confident hunter and a lady at the same time, because I think that's what if you can be confident and set a strong example, that's what we need on both male and female side, right? Like,
yeah.
have you been approached for that sort of role?
Um, Kinda.
Kind of.
Um, I've been on some hunts, ladies' hunts where, um, you know, there's been inexperienced hunters there. Um, Maybe somebody that's never hunted before. This is their first one. And um, whoever's put on the hunt, sometimes it's a ladies group, sometimes it's just a group that got together. Um, but, I always just let people know if you've never hunted before, or this is like your first or second or whatever hunt,
Mm-hmm.
you can come to me. I'm happy to help you. Like, no question is dumb. I would
Yeah.
rather you come ask, I said, because I've been there myself.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you want to know, I'm happy to help. And if I don't know, I'll find out the answer.
Okay.
So, I've met a lot of ladies just on social media by doing that. There was a girl on, I don't know what waterfowl page it was, that, said she called in her first turkey this year. And I don't know where she lives. I can't remember. I have it saved on my phone. And I said, well, if you ever want to come to Kansas, I said, put in for a tag. And I said, come hunt with me. I'd be
Yeah.
happy to call you in a turkey up here.
Yeah.
And so, I love Wilderness. I love Jess Rice. She's the president of Wilderness. She's just a great person. And I've been asked to do some stuff with them. Sometimes when they have stuff, it just hasn't worked out with my work schedule.
Right.
But I always try to just help anybody that I can.
Right.
'Cause I've been there before, and it's scary.
Oh, well, no, of course.
You just walk in there. So I just try to, you can kind of tell too. So I just try to pick some people out and say, hey, come sit by me.
Yeah. So let's change things a little bit here, and let's dive into your history, and walk us through what got you started chasing ducks. Like, was it your dad? Was it an uncle? Was it an aunt? Was it your mom? You know what I mean? Like, why, of all things, why ducks?
Well, I always wanted to do it. But I was always taking care of somebody.
Right.
And then my mom had cancer, and you sit down, just going to die.
Yeah.
So you sit down and you just talk about a lot of things. And, one of the things was, she just said, you've always been taking care of one of us or somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and put a lot of things on hold in your life. And she said, I know that you've wanted to do this for a long time. She's like, go start living for yourself. Go do something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess that's what really, we had a lot of really heart to heart talks, and I guess that's what really stuck out. So, she goes, even if you find out that you don't like it,
Right.
I just know that you've always wanted to do it.
Right.
So my stepdad, he didn't duck hunt at all. He would go like shoot some doves, and he just taught me how to shoot a rifle, but I taught myself how to shoot a shotgun.
Okay.
So, but I did a lot of research, a lot of research, a
That's
lot.
such a,
I read a
that,
lot.
that's such a
I
cool
watched,
thing too.
like, I watched a lot on YouTube. I read a lot of articles. I seem to just do better with that.
Yeah.
Made me no kind of expert whatsoever, but just to learn about, and looked up all the birds and like where they live and bird ID and all that. And so when it came time to go hunt, I was at least prepared.
Right. Yeah.
So
You didn't.
yeah, I didn't just walk in, completely blind.
Like
But
most fellas do.
I was like, well, I had bought some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I ended up with gator waders, because literally I'm tall and I have long legs, and I have to buy a lot of men's stuff. And I had looked at waders and looked at waders and looked at waders. Of course, I didn't really know any brand was different than the other brand.
Right.
And I was on waders.com, and literally I was like, finally, I just said, fuck it, I'm buying these waders.
Yeah.
And I got them, and they're gator waders. And somebody asked me, somebody asked, what waders do you like? And literally I had ordered them. They came to my house, and I put them on. I sat and talked on the phone for like 45 minutes. I watched TV in them, and I was like, wow, these are really comfortable. Like, I can move around really good in these. They're not too heavy, everything. And so somebody asked, and I put that down, and that's how David Frisbee found me, is because of my comment.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because he had just started with them.
Right.
So he was still monitoring their social media. And so he messaged me. He's like, hey, I saw your comment. Thanks for that. Uh, Let me send you a discount code, to buy
Right.
something for yourself. So that's really how our relationship started. Um, I didn't really know if I was going to like it or not. So I didn't really buy very much. Our first duck hunt, I shot one bird. There was tons of birds the day before and they scouted. Of course you go, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next thing I was going to do, I went on a crane hunt with another ladies group here in Kansas. And we actually went right over the Kansas border into Oklahoma. And that was like, oh my God, yeah, I really want to do this now. So then I started buying more and more stuff. And
Right.
then for my first birthday without my mom, I drove to Gaydon, Louisiana, little town of they have a gas station,
Right.
and did a spec hunt with a bunch of girls I had never met in my life. And that's a long way to drive for a bunch of people you've never met in your life.
Yeah.
And got to go out in the marsh and kill my real first ducks and kill my first specs. And I was like, all right, this is for me. When I was riding out to the marsh, I'll never forget. We're riding out to the marsh in the boat, and I'm sitting on the floor of the boat, and it's the day after my birthday because I drove down there, I think, on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember thinking, this is where I've needed to be for a long time.
Well,
and that was it. So,
And then life got a lot more expensive.
yeah. Yeah.
I know you've done a show. You've done a podcast with a good friend of ours, Brian Hallbly, with Migration Waterfowl, and I just done one with him last week. And one of the questions, and you really just hit it right there, and I can, when someone's telling a story and you could picture yourself there, or you could picture watching that moment, and when I done the show with Brian, he had asked, what was it? Because my background, Ash, is that I was former military. I retired after 20 years in. I had some mental health issues, the whole bit. I grew up hunting, but then when I joined the military and I was living in barracks and always moving around, I stopped hunting for a long, long time. And when I came back from Afghanistan, a buddy of mine got me back into chasing ducks. And at that time, that was what I needed, because I was back out in nature, and it just grounds you out, zeroes you out, right? And when you're telling that story about sitting on the floor of the boat, and I can picture it.
I went back to that spot.
I can picture dark, just the bow and the stern lights on the boat shining. You can hardly make anybody. The only faces you can see is the people that got their phone up as they're scrolling through, right? That's the only light that's there. And I can picture it. I can picture you in that boat and riding in there, and I think, yeah, like Craig and we've talked about it. Like, what is it? What is that image that you think of that hooked you? And for me, it was images
that
of
spot you go back to.
That spot you go back to, and I could picture myself sitting on the floor of that boat going out for a hunt. And that's, I think that's the beauty about duck hunting, is because and I don't know any other hunting. I don't do anything else. So, but those memories, those things, and I know the smells that you're smelling that morning. That's that fucking dirty old swamp water, and you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. And yeah,
I shot a duck off my hip that day.
No
There was 4 of us. It was, I don't know, they had built a blind, and it was like 4, I don't know, some kind of container they had sunk, and there was 4 of us, so each individual one. And these 2 birds came around the side, and so guy beside me shot one, and then I just pulled up and I shot the other one right off my hip. And the guy, it was 2 guys and 2 girls, and the guy right beside me, he goes, "Did you just shoot that duck?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You need to pull it up." I said, "Yeah, I shot right off my hip." And we're like, "Oh, damn." I said, I'm
Have
just
you ever done
as
that,
surprised
Craig?
as you are.
Have you ever shot from the hip, Craig? I've never shot
No,
anything from the hip.
no.
I've got a job to hit ducks when I'm properly shouldering the gun. So taking it from the hip, I don't.
Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. I've been pulling it up to my shoulder. Just shoot from the hip, see how it goes.
Yeah. I can never do that again. I will never be able to do that again.
Yeah, even no matter how many times you tried, yeah, you probably.
I didn't even think about it. I was just like, okay, and he's like, damn. And I was like, you're just as surprised at me as I am.
But
That
there's some days when you're just on, though, right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your shooting is just on, like everything is on, it's perfect. Like I can remember tripling on birds, like bang, 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 triples,
Yeah.
and like the third shot being like it's almost like, well, that was a fluke. Like you got it, but it was a fluke. But there's those days when you're just on, and then there's days when you're like bang, 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 and you're like, how did I not hit that bird? Like
Yeah.
I have no idea. And that's
Yeah.
when your buddies are laughing at you. And
Yeah. You have to redeem yourself.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I hunted with some guys in Arkansas with a couple girls this fall, and I shot my Sweet 16 of a Belgian made Browning Sweet 16. I took it out and I shot it, and I know that I killed him. And this guy goes, "Yeah, my 28 gauge got that." And the guy sitting beside me goes, "I'm sorry to tell you, but this girl's 16 gauge got it." He goes, "She got the 3 last that you think that you shot." He's like, "She killed him." And he's like,
Really?
"Oh," he goes, "No," and he goes, "Nah, buddy, she did it."
She did it.
That was a good day.
Oh, I wish Phil was here now, because you said that what it's like that A5, that
Yeah.
Belgian, yeah. Oh, Phil would be going crazy right now talking to you about.
I've been offered so much money for that gun,
Oh,
and I will never get rid of it.
No.
It is if I could shoot it every single day, muddy days, rainy days, I would. I would take
Really?
it out every day. But I just shoot it on dry days.
Right.
You know,
I've
I don't
got
want
one in 12 gauge
Do you really?
fancy DU one I've got. I brought it to the long point camp. This one that Phil took a picture of.
Yeah.
And same thing. It's like I've got to be somewhere dry, and it's got to be a nice day, not near any serious water. That's when it comes out.
no chance of rain.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No,
It's not going into like a slide-in case or anything like that.
It goes in
no.
your
I have
hard
like
case.
Yeah.
I have a Renan Ivy padded, nice case for it. Everything. It's $450 case.
400. Well, hey, like, but here's the thing, like, that's something that'll last you a lifetime. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing, right? Like these things will last you a lifetime if you look after it.
Yeah.
And you know the A5 is an amazing gun, but if you can get like the Belgian made era, like that's just another notch above, right? Like that's just a cool story to be able to say. I don't have any guns like that. Like I got nothing that's
I got lucky.
yeah.
I got lucky. I knew the right person.
There you go.
I shoot A5 Wicked Wing. That's my main gun.
Yeah.
And I have a Browning Silver. They just fit me right. I'm not like a Browning purist or anything, but
Right.
but
that's a
but
awesome
they just fit me right.
Yeah, that's an awesome point that you made there, is that it fits you right. And man, you don't know how, I don't know if you see it on the social media feeds down in Kansas, but we see it here all the time. And it's what's the best gun I should buy? Well, it's not that simple. You can't just throw out a brand. Like we can tell you the brands that are the default that's not going to fall apart on you.
Yeah.
But you got to go try it. You got to it's got to fit you. It's got to be a comfortable swing. And I'm not that smart when it comes to all of the technical stuff with it. And Craig, I know you and Matt Pomeroy had chatted about it one time, and you guys were going to do a thing, but yeah, like you're saying, you're not a Browning purist, but that's what fits you. And if it fits you, like I'm a Beretta guy. I had an A400, which is, a really, really nice gun. I got rid of it and dropped back down to an A300 because I didn't like the fit of the 400.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I didn't like it. The gun worked amazing. It did what it had to do. Personally, I just didn't like it.
Well,
Yeah.
and with gear in general, people just always want to start brand first and then try and
Yeah,
work backwards from there. And
Yeah.
if you're just trying to hashtag a certain brand all the time, you could be handicapping yourself, right? Like if you're worried about just the name,
very, very true.
you might not find anything that works well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of
And I did a lot of research about
course you
the
did.
weight of the gun, the draw length. I had a Benelli. I bought a Benelli
Right.
SB3 because all my friends had one,
That's
and
right.
that was trash.
Mm-hmm.
I sold it. I'd had to go back to Benelli. I never even put it back together. I left it in the case. I took it on a teal hunt and I sold it. Um, and I have a Remington B3 Field Sport that I won, and I'll never get rid of that because I shot my first duck with it. It weighs a ton, but did all my first. So I just trained my dogs with that.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just was going in between a Browning and the Beretta, and but I really looked at like the overall weight of the gun because that Remington is heavy.
Yeah.
The draw length, um, you know, um,
How tall? How tall are you?
5'11".
Okay, so you're about the same height as I am. So
Yeah,
like,
and I have long arms, and I mean, I have long arms.
okay, so that
Yeah,
so when you talk draw length, so that is a serious, like that is a serious. I don't want to say concern, but that's something that you really want to take into account is the draw
Mhm.
length, right? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But I I went to Max Prairie Wings because I was down in Arkansas, and
Yeah.
I said, "Show me the Beretta," and I shouldered it. And I said, "Now show me the A5 Wicked Wing," and they happen to have one in old school camo, my
Nice.
favorite.
Yeah.
And so I shouldered it, and then I shouldered the other one again, and then I shouldered the A5, and I said, "I'll take the A5." And
Good.
I said, "If I don't like it this weekend, then I guess I'll be back to consign it and buy the other one." Like, you know what? I'll just keep buying one and shooting it till I find the one I like.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
literally right out of the box, it was a big hunt that weekend. That's Jake's very first big hunt. And man, I thought, well, I'm just going to shoot a few shells. And I didn't miss. And it was just comfortable. And I mean, the gun's just comfortable. So, like, I bought that Browning Silver used as a backup, and I
That's
can,
fucking
I
beautiful.
mean,
That
it's a
silver.
workhorse of a gun.
Yeah.
So, um,
You
but
know, it would be really bad or a very missed opportunity for me to not put the screws to Craig a little bit over the dog. Um, so
please.
yeah, so I know like you will send like your dogs are at a trainer, but your dog's not at the trainer all the time. You do some
No.
training, right? You
Yeah.
don't do any?
No, no. My dogs get trained to a point. Like, they're just there. Like,
Yeah.
Stella's there. Stella probably would have been done last summer. Unfortunately, she had 3 false pregnancies in a row that really
Oh,
messed her up.
okay.
And she would go into heat at the beginning of training
Right.
season and the
Yeah.
beginning of hunting season.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it just really messed her up. So I finally got her spayed in February after her last false pregnancy, and
Yeah.
she's like a new dog.
Oh
And
yeah.
even the trainer's like, she's a beast now. Like,
Yeah.
she's great.
Yeah.
Um, and so Jake, he didn't take long to train. I don't think, like, the amount of time Stella's been at the trainer, Jake has been. He's done. He's finished. He
Mm-hmm.
went back one summer, like, for I think 6 weeks, just for a refresher. And then last summer, my trainer kept him for a couple weeks for me. Cause I had some stuff going on, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, he didn't even miss a mark. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'm like, well, he had some snow geese, but otherwise been laying on the couch.
Yeah,
So,
but that's what I wanted to get at. Like
yeah,
I try to I try to
but I
enforce.
do, I do work with them. I work with
Mhm.
him every day.
Yeah,
Um,
for
I
what?
do
Like
drills with
20
him. I
minutes?
can 20 minutes, sometimes an hour.
Yeah,
Just depends. And when I have both of them together,
right.
Jake is a very dominant male, and Stella can
Okay.
tell that. So she'll take her bumper and go run and sit on the front porch.
Right.
British dogs are kind of a little soft. And I'm like, no, you come back here and you sit on my right because he's very dominant, sit on my left,
Yeah.
and I'll make them both, take turns retrieving
Hmm.
whatever. But probably 3 out of 4 times I'll send Stella and make Jake sit there
Yeah.
because I want her to build her confidence with him sitting there.
Of course.
So, but I have people that stop and ask me, "Do you train? Are you a dog trainer?" Because I'll
Hmm.
take them. There's a field, I don't know, probably 3 blocks from my house that I'll take them out there and run drills with them. I'll do it in my backyard behind my garage. I'm no professional dog trainer by any means,
Right.
but I have learned a lot from my dog trainer, going to work with my dogs, watching other people with their dogs, and but there's just some things I know that I'm not good at,
Right.
and I tried with Jake. I could not get him to whistle sit. I could not cast him, and so I sent him back to the trainer. I just know that I know what I'm good at, and it's not that.
Yeah. I
There's certain
wouldn't be
parts that I
able.
can't get the dog to do.
I cannot train the force fetch side of things like that. That is so. I just wouldn't be able to do it. But one of the things that um I try to do is when I'm trying to talk Craig into buying a dog,
As you
um,
should.
as he should. Well, the hunts are just way more fun.
Way better.
But um, is like Craig, they've got a young family and they're busy. They've got a busy lifestyle, and his thing was, well, I don't know if I got the time to train a dog, and I'm like, well, you really 20 minutes, half hour a day is all you need.
Yeah.
It's not the duration of the training, it's the consistency of the training that you will get this success from your dog. It's the consistency, not the length of the training.
Yeah, because
That's
you can burn a dog out
oh yeah,
by doing it too long.
not mine, but
Well, I mean, Jake will retrieve nonstop. He's almost had a heat stroke because he just wouldn't stop. And I was like, oh, he's okay. And then he couldn't hardly even walk the 2 blocks home. And I was like, oh.
oh,
So, I've learned to just like, okay, that's enough.
hmm,
I know that you'll keep going getting that bumper, but that's enough.
right,
Um, Stella, she'll tell you when she's had enough. She's like, okay, I'm done.
yeah,
But you'll burn a dog out trying to get him to repeatedly do drills. Like when I was
hmm,
trying to get him to learn how to whistle sit, I did teach. We got pretty good at casting, but I could not get him to whistle sit, and he would just be like, "I don't know what else you want me to do. Like, I'm done. I don't know what you want me to do." And I'm
And
like, "Well,
potentially,
I
I
don't know."
guess, creating a problem from that, right?
Yeah, and then that just makes it worse. So, um,
but then like I said, Craig, like there's a point when like I sent Lander, like she went with Bill because I couldn't do the force fetch and the casting, the whistle sit I could do. The casting was just a crazy drill to try to get that. So like she went to a trainer, and then I started hanging out with my trainer, Bill, and he told me what I had to do. And then, once they set it in the dog's head, then it's up to you to just carry on with it, right? So you just
Yeah,
do what
just
the trainer
maintain it.
tells you to do.
yeah,
Yeah, just maintenance.
there's a book that's only sold on Gun Dog Supply. That it has nothing but drills, and you can actually train your dog from the beginning to the end
Oh,
from
really?
using that book. And it tells you now if this happens, this is how you correct it. If this happens, then
Oh,
you correct
really?
it this way. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And I
Oh,
have
I,
that book. So like when I picked Stella up last summer, he was like, okay, you do this drill. And I just took pictures of the pages because I didn't have the book with me.
right.
So he's like, this is what I work on. Um, and then, I told him, well, now she has another false pregnancy. I'm still going to hunt her.
Hmm.
So she wasn't too crazy about it till she figured out, oh,
Hmm.
like I get to bring these. Oh, and there's a pile of them. She was
Yeah, yeah,
after her morning nap in her little blind.
yeah.
Um, so, and she wasn't crazy about hunting a flooded field when it was cold, but she got over it. She just hoarded all the ducks in her little blind, and that kept her warm. But, um, now she's just like a different dog. So, I mean, hunting the two of them separately is a whole different world. I
Yeah, I
mean,
bet.
it's like your kids, but um, no, I mean, you need to have a dog.
Yeah, you need to have a dog, Craig.
You need to
On
have a
that
dog.
note, that's a great note to end this, Craig. You got to get a dog.
I can hook you up.
Let's talk.
I would drive it to you.
That's awesome. Ash, thanks so much. We're going to do a quick just final words. But thank you so much for coming on. Craig, to you first, buddy.
Nothing to add. It was great chatting with you. I enjoyed listening to the episode you did with Brian, and so it was glad when Damien said you were coming on tonight. So it was good chatting with you.
Well, thank you. It was good chatting with you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Ash,
I'm glad
to you,
for the first time using this format that it actually worked for me.
Well, it was off to a bit of a rocky.
Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Final words to you, Ash.
Just, I always this is my final thing to say. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell people, take care of your mental health, take care of yourself. And just go live your best life.
Solid advice. Ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 226 of the Union 0430 podcast. We always say we're not experts. We're just a group of friends that love hanging out, chatting anything, duck hunting. Big love. Surround yourself with good people and good things will happen. Chat with you next time.